Half a day, Guam. Julie Carver here. It's so nice to be with you this afternoon. For those of you attending the summit, thanks for sticking around until the end to hear more about the comprehensive framework the Port of Guam has developed to enhance its operational resilience while fostering economic growth and environmental stewardship. In 2024, the Port Authority of Guam released a landmark report, its Sustainability and Resiliency Plan. In the words of General Manager Rory Respicio, this plan represents a pivotal step in the Port Authority of Guam's journey toward a more sustainable and resilient future. The plan embodies the port's commitment to environmental stewardship and responsible resource management, and contains a comprehensive roadmap that will guide port operations toward a future in the pursuit of zero emissions and zero waste, a strategy we are now calling net zero. You've heard from Emily Sanders of Jacobs earlier about the zero emissions strategy that the Port of Guam is actively pursuing. Many seaports around the world are engaged in sustainability efforts focused on reducing environmental impact through a combination of renewable energy adoption, electrification of vehicles and equipment, and improved energy efficiency. I believe what makes this sustainability and resiliency plan truly unique is the fact that the Port of Guam has included a zero waste strategy in their sustainability plan. Based on some quick research, it appears that there are only a handful of port sustainability plans throughout the world containing both a zero emissions and a zero waste strategy. First, some background to provide you with a better understanding as to why a zero waste strategy was included in the port's sustainability plan. Guam's zero waste journey began in 2011 when the primary landfill on the island was literally on fire, and the government of Guam was taking steps to develop and implement a zero waste program. The purpose of the program was to transition Guam from a classical linear waste management system focused on waste disposal to a system that kept waste out of their new state-of-the-art landfill and the Lejean landfill, and instead prioritize sustainable solutions focused on the beneficial reuse of waste materials. Several building blocks fundamental to Guam's zero waste program include the 2013 Zero Waste Plan, which kicked things off with an initial blueprint of zero waste initiatives needed to establish the foundation for Guam's zero waste program, Governor Leon Guerrero's creation of a zero waste working group in 2019 of citizens and government officials to more fully develop and guide Guam's zero waste strategy, and Guam's Zero Waste Master Plan, published in 2023, which contains updated and additional zero waste initiatives, recommendations, and an updated contemporary blueprint to move Guam's zero waste program forward for the next 20 years. Demonstrating the port's commitment to limiting climate change, building operational resilience, and embracing environmental stewardship, the Port Authority of Guam's Board of Directors has issued a number of directives with actionable commitments, including Resolution number 2022-16, which directed the port management to identify sustainable port projects to pursue, Resolution number 2024-02, which commits to the principles of sustainability, resilience, and environmental stewardship, and adopts the port's 2024 Look-Ahead Plan, and in a defining moment in the port's journey towards zero emissions and zero waste, this past November, the port's Board of Directors unanimously approved Resolution number 2024-18, adopting the zero emissions and zero waste goals of the 2024 Sustainability and Resiliency Plan, thereby integrating sustainability objectives into the framework of the port's master plan. In April 2024, representatives of the Office of the Governor of Guam, the port, and key public and private sector stakeholders met at Adelup for a vision and action session. Stakeholder input was sought regarding launching the port's sustainability and resiliency efforts with respect to both zero waste and zero emissions. Key takeaways from the visioning session specifically related to zero waste are summarized on this slide. As one of the meeting participants, with a finger on the pulse of Guam's zero waste movement since its early days, priorities articulated in that meeting that resonated loud and clear with me included that, number one, creating additional reuse and recycling capacity and resources in Guam is absolutely critical, and two, cleaning up the island, in part through the removal of abandoned junk vehicles and waste tires, is of paramount importance to the Leon Guerrero Tenorio administration. Enacted into law in October 2022, Guam Zero Waste Act requires a zero waste implementation plan to reach 50% waste reduction island-wide by 2035 and 75% waste reduction by 2045. The 5-year zero waste strategy developed in the Port Sustainability Plan positions the Port Authority of Guam to lead with purpose and vision among territorial government agencies in helping to achieve these goals. Waste targets in the Port Sustainability Plan consists of priority wastes island-wide, including junk vehicles, waste tires, and difficult to dispose of white goods, as well as port-generated office, operation and maintenance, and construction and demolition debris wastes. The zero waste strategy presented in the Port's Sustainability and Resiliency Plan includes 6 strategic initiatives recommended for implementation over a 5-year period. These initiatives, which are laid out in a detailed roadmap in the Sustainability Plan, aim to foster a more sustainable and resilient Guam, targeting priority waste to protect the island's resources, implementing zero waste policies and practices at the port, and positioning the port to work with key stakeholders to increase Guam's recycling capacity and foster green job opportunities. The first strategic initiative involves establishing a recycling enterprise zone. The purpose of a recycling enterprise zone, whether it is in Guam or in another part of the world, is to promote recycling and beneficial reuse of materials to minimize waste and support sustainable development. A recycling enterprise zone on port property offers many strategic advantages to Guam, including that staging and transshipment of recycled materials are optimized by being co-located within the port's property, where 90% of the goods that come into and leave the island are located. Added to that is the advantage that the recycling enterprise zone will be located in an already designated industrial area where there will be minimal impact to Guam's residents. The initial goal of this initiative was to select locations either inside the port's boundaries or near the port on which to develop operations that facilitate recycling, with the follow-on goal of getting the recycling enterprise zone ready for operations. Accordingly, a short list of 11 sites were selected for detailed evaluation. Based on the evaluation included in the 2024 Sustainability and Resiliency Plan, the port has selected a recycling enterprise zone location and has put a plan of action in place, which includes significant infrastructure improvements needed to have the recycling enterprise zone operational within approximately 5 years. Strategic Initiative number 2, which we refer to as the Stop Junk Vehicles Initiative, involves the staging and transshipment of junk vehicles. This initiative aligns with existing priorities voiced in the April 2024 Visioning Kickoff Session and is consistent with the intent of Guam Public Law 28-92. The goals of the Stop Junk Vehicles Strategic Initiative are to work with the government of Guam to facilitate the island-wide consolidation and removal of abandoned junk vehicles by preparing and containerizing junk vehicles for staging and transshipment. The containerized junk vehicles would be temporarily stored within the designated recycling enterprise zone at the port, allowing for shipment to off-island recycling facilities on a just-in-time basis when space is available on ships. Notably, any draining of fluids, preparation of the junk vehicles for staging, and removal of non-recyclable materials would occur in off-site permitted recycling operator yards to minimize environmental impacts at the port. Strategic Initiative number 3 addresses waste tires, which are another priority waste for Guam. The initial goal of this initiative is to facilitate the removal of long abandoned piles of waste tires on the island by shredding the tires with equipment that already exists on Guam, temporarily staging the tire shreds in containers or bales in the recycling enterprise zone, which frees up much needed space in our island's permitted recycling operator yards. The containers or bales would then be ready on a just-in-time basis for shipment to off-island recycling facilities when space is available and identified on ships. Similar to Strategic Initiatives 2 and 3, Strategic Initiative number 4, Stop Illegal Dumping of White Goods, involves the staging and transshipment of illegally dumped or abandoned white goods, such as washing machines, dryers, refrigerators, and freezers for recycling. In fiscal year 2021, a total of 1,151 abandoned white good units were estimated to have been removed from Guam village streets. Based on reports from the Mayor's Council of Guam, the annual number of abandoned white goods is expected to remain around 1,000 units per year. This initiative aligns with the existing priorities, again articulated in the April 2024 Visioning Kickoff session, and is consistent with the intent of Guam Public Law 2892 by addressing abandoned white goods, which are another of Guam's priority wastes. Strategic Initiative number 5, which we refer to as green purchasing, is consistent with recommendations in both the 2013 Guam Zero Waste Plan and Guam's 2023 Zero Waste Master Plan. This initiative involves establishing an environmentally preferable or green purchasing policy for the port to follow, while Guam's General Services Administration is under a directive to pursue green purchasing. That directive hasn't necessarily flowed down to individual departments or autonomous agencies. This initiative will be a first for an autonomous Government of Guam agency and a significant step forward in Guam's journey towards zero waste. Work is already underway within the Port's Planning Division to address the initial goal of this initiative. Port planning staff is working with Guam's GSA, and they are developing a port policy focused on identifying, selecting, and purchasing products with fewer adverse environmental impacts than competing projects. The final initiative we refer to as Port Strong Recycles. Aligning directly with one of the 2023 Zero Waste Master Plan initiatives, which recommends enacting mandatory recycling at all government facilities and in government public spaces, this strategic initiative establishes the groundwork for formally mandating recycling by port employees and in port-operated facilities. During the development of the 2024 Sustainability Plan, when meeting with port employees, we learned that they had a long-held informal recycling program in place that they were quite excited about and they've done a great job with. The goal of this initiative is to optimize and build upon that already existing program and to formalize it so it can be recognized and given credit due. The 6 strategic initiatives included in the Port's Zero Waste Strategy in the 2024 Sustainability and Resiliency Plan represent an investment in the future designed to facilitate Guam's transition to zero waste and a more sustainable circular economy. Moving forward with these initiatives will require the Port to actively seek and rely on partnerships. By collaborating with others, the Port can leverage diverse strengths, share knowledge, and allow innovation, ensuring that Guam achieves its overall sustainability goals and legislatively mandated zero waste goals. That concludes my presentation today. Si Jus Mahase. I hope you've enjoyed your time at the 2025 Innovation Summit.